Hey guys, what's up? So today I am going to do some Q&A based on real comments that I've gotten, DMs in my Instagram or emails, and I'm going to talk about the 3 top questions that I have gotten, which are: what if you're not losing weight on a GLP-1? Should you switch from semaglutide to tirzepatide, and will that make a difference? And what would I personally do if I had to stop my GLP-1? So these are really very powerful questions, and I'm going to be very honest. They do hit very close to home because I have faced all of them myself. So let's dig in. Question number 1, I'm going to read this to you. So I've done 4 weeks of semaglutide, 0.25 the first 4 weeks, 0.5 for the second 4 weeks, went up to 1 milligram to do another 4 weeks, and I've only lost 13 pounds. I see so many people who have lost so much more weight, and it's really discouraging me when I don't see the scale going down. Yes, I'm lacking on exercise because I'm busy. I'm a single mom. I do walk, I do errands, but I just don't know what else to do. Maybe I should change medications. I'm not sure. What do you suggest? Okay, so I totally get how discouraging this can be when you see others that are losing much faster than you. But 13 pounds in 13 weeks, which is, yeah, you're 13 weeks in at this point. That is about 1 pound a week, which is really on track with healthy weight loss. So healthy weight loss is between 0.5 pound and 2 pounds a week, or approximately 1% of your body weight. So if you're 200 pounds starting off, 2 pounds a week, 1%, that's very healthy. Or some weeks a little more, some weeks a little less, but on average, it's about that 0.5 to 2 pounds. So 1 pound a week, you're completely on track. So that's pretty normal. Secondly, everyone is going to respond to the medication differently because everyone has different starting points metabolically. How much insulin resistance you have, if you have PCOS, where your hormones are, your stress level, what your activity level is. I mean, you said that you're not really doing a lot in terms of activity level, that you're lacking on it. You're not really doing any strength training, so you're not building and maintaining the muscle. So my concern with that also would be the weight loss. If you're losing 1 pound a week, that some of that's going to come from muscle, and we want to prevent that from happening. You want to lose the vast majority from body fat. So I would encourage you to try to get some strength training in there, even if it's 5 or 10 minutes, 3 days a week. Just start with something that you can manage, that mentally you have the time. Everybody's got 5 or 10 minutes in the day. If you're scrolling on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, whatever, on social media, or you're watching some TV at night, you have 5 or 10 minutes. You can do it while you're scrolling. You can do it while you're watching TV. Pair it with something that you enjoy doing. That'll make you more apt to do it, and that'll help with the weight loss as well. But you're only 3 months in. You're still kind of at starting doses. You definitely have more doses that you can go up to. You're moving forward. You're going in the right direction. You're having weight loss. Also, what are the other, non-scale things? Is food noise gone down? How is your tracking? How is your appetite and satiety signaling? How's your sleep and stress levels? Those are all things to look at as well. What about your energy level? Has that increased? Has that stayed the same or decreased? So focus on the things you can control, which are take your medication consistently, try and get a little more exercise in there, get a little strength training in, focus on your nutrition and your protein and your fiber, which will help to support, feeling full. And also celebrate those, non-scale victories, as they call them, those wins, which are, is your body getting smaller? Can you fit into new clothes? And if you do, buy something new. Buy something that is a little more form-fitting or in a new size. 13 pounds, depending on how tall you are, could be a whole new size or two. So definitely, buy something that would help encourage you. I love using Poshmark because it's a lot less expensive than getting brand new. And, you don't have to feel as guilty if you keep going down in size. You're going to have to keep, buying new clothes for. So I would say you're doing amazing. Keep up the good work. Just stay consistent. Don't look at other people. I know everyone looks at everyone else's journey, but look, the larger you are and the more weight you have to lose, the more you're going to lose in the beginning. Getting down to those last, 20 pounds, when you start getting within the 20 pounds of your goal weight, depending on your body fat percentage, that's when the real work begins. It gets so much harder at that point that you really have to dial in much more on everything: the sleep, the nutrition, the working out, the mind games, the things you have to, I say mind games, what I mean is really your mind state and how you're thinking about things and how you're reflecting about things. So you're doing amazing. Question number 2, should I switch from semaglutide, Ozempic, Wegovy, to tirzepatide, which you could be taking as Zepbound or Mounjaro, if I am not losing any more weight and I've reached the highest dose? That is a really great question. There's not a lot of more information on that. So the highest dose of semaglutide is 2.4 milligrams. And I have personal experience with this because I started on Ozempic. Then when I hit the highest of Ozempic, which is 2.0, I switched to Wegovy so that I could go up to the 2.4, which I did. And I was pretty successful and I lost weight, but that's when I hit my stall. That's when I hit, I'm stuck and I still have 10 more pounds to lose and I'm doing all the things and not getting anywhere and I'm just bouncing around between 3 pounds. And I was at 2.4 milligrams and I was taking consistently every single week, no negative side effects for 4 months. And that was like pretty annoying and frustrating. So, I don't know your story. I don't know what your nutrition is, your activity level. Is there anything else that you can tweak in there? One of the things that I could have done that I didn't do, but looking back, I could have done this, is to do a reverse diet at that point because my calories were low. Keep in mind, I'm 5'1". People who are taller have more flexibility with their calories, but us shorties, we don't. And I really didn't want to go below 1,000 because I was hungry. And my appetite really started to increase at that point. I was somewhere between 1,000 and 1,200, 1,300 calories on average. And I just couldn't budge anything. So if you're at the point where you can't lower your calories and you're hitting your protein and all your activity, and my activity was pretty dialed in, I couldn't really do too much more. And when it came to the activity piece, I was still hitting my steps and I'm strength training. So I was doing all that. Then yes, tirzepatide, I think, can absolutely help with whatever's going on metabolically to kind of kickstart your weight loss again. Because it can help with a little more appetite control and food noise reduction. And I personally saw this. I ended up switching. You have to talk to your doctor. Again, I'm not a doctor, not a healthcare practitioner. I'm not giving you any advice in terms of dosing, just telling you about my experience. I was at 2.4 Wegovy and my doctor switched me to 5.0 milligrams of compounding tirzepatide. At the time, I went to a compounding pharmacy. And that did it. And it worked quickly and it felt different to me. And I wrote everything down. So I took a log of how I was feeling, the dosage, day by day, what I weighed, all of that, my nutrition. I have everything logged every single day. Since I started logging, which was in October of 2022. I started logging my food and probably like 6 weeks into my journey of being on a GLP-1. And I definitely felt the tirzepatide change something inside of me. So I would definitely encourage you to talk to your healthcare practitioner about making the switch. If you've been on 2.4 for at least 4 weeks, I would say a stall is at least 4 weeks or longer, and you've tried everything else and you've done all the things, then it may be worth having that discussion with your healthcare practitioner. For me, it definitely helped move the needle. All right, question number 3 that I got was, this is a good one. If you had to stop taking your GLP-1, what would you do and how would you keep the weight off? In all honesty, I never want to stop. Now, my intention when I went on a GLP-1 in the beginning, one of the first questions I asked my doctor was, I can get off of this, right? I don't have to stay on this the rest of my life. Now, again, that was back in 2022. And my thought was, yeah, I'll take it to help me, but I then want to be able to like do this by myself without the medication. And then the longer I was on the medication, and then when I got to goal weight, I was like, I don't really want to get off of it. Like, it's making me feel good. And I'm having all these other great benefits to it as well. It's not just the weight loss. Like, I'm actually having less anxiety. I'm not like an overly anxious person, but I definitely felt this calmness. I'm less anxious. I have more room in my brain to think, be creative, and to respond versus, reacting a little, quicker. I can take that breath now. I like the way it's making me feel. I like the anti-inflammatory effects of it. And most of all, I don't have this crazy raging appetite that I've had my entire life and food noise. And I don't want that to come back. So in all honesty, I never intend to go off of it. But with that being said, I've still done all the things that I would need to do if I had to go off of it. So this would be my advice. For whatever reason, if you need to go off it or you want to go off of it, you're gonna really focus on your foods. Minimize the processed foods. Processed foods are anything that comes in a bag, a box that has a barcode. Those are processed foods. Anything that is in the perimeter of the store are most likely whole foods. Anything that's in the center, stay away from. That was something I learned a long time ago. In the perimeter, you have your meats, your vegetables, your fruits, you have your dairy, but things that are in the middle are like the boxes and the cereals and the, processed things. The only thing that's in the middle that I get are like canned mushrooms or rice. But really focus on that. I would also eliminate alcohol and added sugar or really avoid it because it can be triggering. Meaning, at least for me, and I know what happens with other people, you start to eat carbohydrates. I shouldn't say carbohydrates, but like simple carbohydrates, not the complex ones, like anything with like added sugars. In some breads can do this and pastas as well, because those can break down really quick in your body and you get like this addiction feeling, like you just want more and more and more, and it's really hard to stop eating them. And willpower only get you so far. And so if you have certain foods that are triggering to you, then you need to really limit them or stay away from them, because you don't want to have to use your willpower and white knuckle all the time. It's exhausting. It takes away from living life, and you don't want to be doing that. So really prioritize your nutrition, lots of vegetables, lots of fiber, strength train, build muscle. That's like your backup energy source, right? Because muscle literally is like a sponge for glucose. It soaks it all up. It helps with insulin sensitivity. And that is going to be your way to longevity and being healthier and avoiding the insulin resistance, diabetes, and all of that. And it's really going to help to preserve or increase your metabolism, your ability to burn calories as well as your ability to partition them correctly. The other thing I would suggest is to walk after meals. That has been shown in studies to really help your metabolism. Just 5 or 10 minutes of walking after a meal, which isn't all, you have to be intentional. I still need to get better at doing it because I'm not great at walking after my meals. I do walk a lot, but to be very specific, after meals, that has been shown in studies to really help the metabolism, insulin sensitivity. Oh, hello. And so do that. Hit those 7,000 minimum steps a day, ideally 10,000. But if you're starting at a lower number, work your way up. You don't have to go from 5,000 steps to 10,000 like in a day. Just, work your way up there and then be consistent about that. Drink plenty of water, because sometimes people will think they're hungry when they're just really thirsty, and then drinking some water will help. And then track everything. Make sure you're tracking your food, weighing yourself daily so you know where you are, you're accountable. Write down your feelings, how foods made you feel, how you felt on that day, because if you're a woman and you're having your cycle, that will also definitely mess with your appetite regulation, satiety regulation, and your feelings and whatnot. I'm postmenopause at this point, but when I started my weight loss and was on a GLP-1, I was getting my cycle on a regular basis. And every time I had my cycle, for the few days prior to that, I was starving. I was always so hungry and I always had to eat more. And it was really frustrating, but I couldn't help myself. And I mean, I still made it. And during this whole, whatever journey and whatever, I still made it to my weight loss goal despite having the fluctuations. And then obviously went through menopause at that point, which sort of evened things out. I think I don't have those crazy fluctuations anymore. And then you want to protect your mind. Mind meaning you want to make your health your number one non-negotiable priority. Put yourself first. Yeah, is it selfish? Sure. But if you can't put your own oxygen mask on, you can't help anyone else out. So if you're a mom, you're a dad, you're a coworker, a brother or sister, whatever, you have to help yourself. And when you're healthier and feeling better, then you can help other people. Because as soon as you start putting yourself last, well, that becomes a habit. And then you start getting away from all the good habits that you've done. And if your appetite or the food noise comes raging back, 100% I would consider restarting on a GLP-1. There is absolutely no shame in this. It's biology. If you're doing all the things and this happens, you just need a GLP or a GIP to kind of plug in that missing piece to help you, then go for it. If you have the means to do it, and there are compounding pharmacies out there that are making it pretty affordable, you can go directly, to the manufacturer as well and do that. There are ways of making it happen. And the repercussion of going off a GLP-1, if you really need it, and studies have shown only about 10% of people who go off it are able to maintain their weight. And it's only because they haven't battled a lifetime of being overweight or obese, that it was like a moment in time that they gained weight and they were able to get off of it because it helped give them a leg up. They were able to lose their weight and it regulated everything, and they don't have some crazy appetite or food noise like everyone else has. That's amazing. Wish I was one of those people. I'm not. I accepted that. I'm on this for the rest of my life, as long as I have the access to it or an advanced iteration of the medication. I'm totally fine with that. Will I tweak my dose or even go down in dose? Absolutely. If I can do that, I will absolutely do that. I'll play around with it. And that's the other thing you can do. Instead of going cold turkey, which I definitely would not do, and I hope your healthcare practitioner would not have you go cold turkey off of whatever dose you're on to nothing. At minimum, at least wean down. at least titrate down and go slowly, slowly, because you can kind of test yourself too to see, how am I doing on the lower doses? How is that feeling? Because if you're doing well, that's a good sign. But if you're not, well, that means you may have to remain on it in order to keep the weight off. And long term, from a monetary perspective, that will save you a lot of money. It'll save you money on getting other diseases and medications and doctor's visits and mental health and all the rest of it, including food costs too, and clothing. And there's so much that you'd be saving on. So these were amazing, amazing questions. Really, really good. I hope my answers gave clarity and encouragement. And I would love to hear from you all. What would you add to my list of strategies if you had to stop a GLP-1? Drop your comments, drop your thoughts below. And then if you have any other questions that you'd want me to answer, maybe I'll make a future video out of your question, because I'm sure if you have a question, someone else has the same question. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell button so you never miss the next video coming out. Keep sending me all your questions, whether it's here or on Instagram or Facebook or by email. I love getting them. I love doing these Q&As. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you in the next one. Stay strong.